Well, it would appear as though the Brooklyn Nets have decided to cave after previously seeming like they were not going to allow Kyrie Irving to be a part-time player, kind of on principle. They'd let him come back, so he's a part-time player now. So Kyrie Irving will be back at some point relatively soon, and he's going to be playing games that are only away games and not even all away games because some opposing teams also have restrictions with non-vaccinated players playing games. Kyrie will in some part contribute to the Nets season this year. But the question I have for today's video is how much is this actually going to benefit and impact the Nets? And because the Nets are one of the better teams in the league, how much is this going to affect the NBA as a whole? Let's talk about it. Real quick before I continue on with this video, about half the people that watch these videos are not subscribed, so if you follow that 50%, then please subscribe. I am trying to hit 200,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I am now a little under 5,000 subscribers away from hitting that goal, so if you could subscribe, seriously, it is much appreciated, especially if you enjoy today's video. And if you do enjoy this video, drop a like. It only takes 1 second and it makes the video perform way better in the algorithm, so it is much appreciated as well. A lot of things I'd appreciate there. So real quick before inserting Kyrie into the equation, let's first just look at where the Brooklyn Nets are and kind of where the league is as a whole with them in relation to it. Everyone on the damn roster has the virus, and I said just like in the second to last video, if you're wondering why I'm saying the virus and not the name of it, YouTube censors videos when they say the name of the virus, which you'd think 2 years into this shit would obviously no longer be a thing, but here we are. Fuck, it's been 2 years. But every damn player on the roster has the virus, and Kyrie comes back and he immediately gets it himself. Speaks to the direness of this situation in the NBA, but moving on. I do want to say real quick that this video has nothing to do with the politics of Kyrie returning. I have no take on that you're going to be seeing in this video. It's just talking about purely basketball. Keep your annoying ass opinions to yourself. But looking at the Nets with all these players out, in the short term, Kyrie coming back could make some sense in terms of actually impacting them in the next coming games whenever he does come back from health and safety protocols himself. But I don't know that it's going to matter that much in the short term because he's going to be out for a long time as well. So it's actually when everyone is healthy that I think Kyrie is going to make the real difference, assuming the league can get it to a point where everyone can be healthy, but we'll have to wait and see on that front. But the difference that Kyrie will make is when everybody is healthy, because I've said before with Kyrie, back when I made a video on him originally just not playing this season, that the role that Kyrie Irving plays with the Brooklyn Nets is not in making them a good team, because the Nets without Kyrie Irving are already a good team. They're the first seed in the Eastern Conference for a reason. However, what Kyrie brings to the table for the Brooklyn Nets is moving them from one of the best teams to the clear favorite. However, with him not playing more than 50% of his games, that means that it's not fully all the way in the category of makes them the clear favorite. So it's kind of a gray area in between the two. He's only going to play less than half of his games in the regular season, and in the playoffs only between 2 and 4 games in each series that he is in. It's not quite the same level of overwhelming that it would be if he was just playing from the get-go. And of course, playing all of the games because of actually getting vaccinated. But again, not talking about that. It could be argued that this type of arrangement could lead to some weird inconsistencies with the team and some weird chemistry. It will also kind of just kill the notion of home court advantage for the Nets, because you're playing without Kyrie Irving, whereas when you're playing away games, you're playing with him. So in that respect, it's not really a home court advantage anymore because you're a worse team on your home floor. But all of those potential problems said, I think it would be foolish to act as though Kyrie Irving would not have a positive impact by playing even as a part-time player. And I'd even say it'd be foolish to act as though that won't be a kind of big deal. One big area where Kyrie can help is taking some pressure off of Kevin Durant, who has had to carry this team in many games this year, including a 50-point game versus the Detroit Pistons, where it was necessary for Kevin Durant to score 50 points for the Nets to win. And that's not exactly ideal for a 33-year-old who has an Achilles tear that he got just a few seasons ago. Kevin Durant doing as well as he has done has resulted in him being in MVP conversations. However, at the same time, this kind of situation is not exactly sustainable. Kevin Durant having to do a carry job at his age with his injury history is a risky thing to mess with. Not saying it's a guaranteed problem, but is a potential problem that you would especially like to avoid viewing this in more of the long term. Now, it would really help if James Harden would just turn back the clock like 3 seasons ago, but at this point I'm starting to doubt if that will ever happen. In fact, Kyrie Irving is probably a bit better than current James Harden, so in the games that he does play, they should be a lot better offensively, and that should take pressure off of Kevin Durant. Not even necessarily saying that Kevin Durant is going to shoot the ball less, but he's going to be doing it under less duress because he has other offensive weapons on the floor that the defense has to worry about. Right now, it's Kevin Durant 1-on-5, basically. That's how it's been this year. And then James Harden scoring 20 and getting like 10 assists, which is good, but not 2018 peak James Harden. Now, you're not going to be getting that benefit in home games, but even if you're getting that like 45% or whatever it is, that's better than 0%. So for less than half of the games, Kyrie will take pressure off of Kevin Durant, whereas Kevin Durant would have to deal with that pressure night in and night out, home and away. So from a pure basketball perspective, even with potential chemistry issues and potential inconsistency affecting them night in and night out, at the end of the day, part-time Kyrie Irving is going to have a positive impact far more than no Kyrie Irving is going to have. It will be a little bit weird because I know there's going to be a ton of media questions and that could potentially be an outside distraction. Not that it wasn't already, but that conversation was kind of dying down and now it's brought back up again. But at the end of the day, it's going to be positive on the basketball end of things. Honestly, the fact that the Nets would just be better with him part-time is the very reason why I thought they would go with that as the game plan from the beginning. And it was a surprise when they didn't, and it seemed like they were going to hold their ground, but recent struggles and the NBA kind of in general being on fire has resulted in them having a change of heart. But now we're here and we can only really wait and see what happens. I will say, if I was an opposing team, and I can especially say as a fan of an opposing team that's towards the top of the conference, I would not want to play this team part-time Kyrie. I would rather him just not play whatsoever. Also, it's worth mentioning that the Nets last season and kind of this season as well have functioned with inconsistency with who's actually playing. The Nets' big three in the regular season last year only played 8 games in total because people were in and out with injuries constantly. You'd get a combination of Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden alone, Kyrie alone, Kevin Durant alone. It's like any of those combinations happened multiple times, and you only got the 3 of them playing together 8 times in the regular season. So this is just a different way of being inconsistent, and if anything, because it's more routine and more expected, it will be less inconsistent, if that makes any kind of sense. Like, expected inconsistency is better than unexpected inconsistency. And with all of that, the Nets have another weapon back, part-time or no, and that does improve their chances of winning a title to a notable degree. I think with him being part-time, they are not heavy favorites as a result of this, but they probably do move back into the conversation of favorites when they were really muddled in the mix with a bunch of other teams, but it is a lot closer than they would be if Kyrie was just simply playing all of his games. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Kyrie Irving returning in terms of his impact on the basketball side of things, what it means for the Nets, what it means for the league. Shout out to Rudy for editing this video, but at the end of this video, please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.